Okay guys, welcome back to the channel, and we are here with XDefiant, and we have a lot of stuff to go over. We also have some bad news on Ubisoft and just what that means for XDefiant. We're going to get to that later in the video, but look, if you are new or a returning viewer, hit the like, hit the sub. Let me know in the comments how you're currently getting on in XDefiant. I'd love to know your opinions. We've had some great conversations, some controversial ones in the last video or so. But look, it's all good. We're all a community, of course, games and XDefiant as a whole. But look, it just is what it is. And I'm going to go over some of the comments of the last video, and I'm just going to show some evidence to reinforce my opinions. And once again, these are my opinions and my experiences, and it's great to see that some people don't have these problems, and then other people who do have these problems know that they're not alone in this kind of problematic game that's currently going on. So the first thing I want to go across is the faction challenges and the fact that they're not unlocking. Like you can see right there, just as I was loading up, there's barely any of them unlocked in the amount of time I've played in this game. I'm nearly on rank 100. And earlier on in XDefiant's life cycle, I had put in a kind of a statement about the challenges not tracking and not being able to unlock the characters. That was from June 11th to June 12th, and that's still on my Twitter, so you can head over there and check it out. But I got onto Ubisoft support. I followed all the kind of steps that they told me to follow and that they'd look into it, and still to this day, Xbox and PC still have the issues that a lot of the character challenges to unlock multiple characters are still locked and they're not tracking. And it's a big problem when you have a lot of skins or if you invested in a lot of things within the game and you can't actually use them, so it takes away from the experience. But on the good side, we did have a small fix today. The maintenance was done for red dots not appearing, vintage with highwaymen not displaying correctly, accidental wall hack, and then an update to the spaz and the P19 mastery skins, which is all a good thing, but also minor. There was a lot of feedback on this where people said they need kill cams and hot fixes. They also went on to complain about like the shotgun for the double barrel shotgun award early in the battle pass isn't actually unlocking or applying. And it got a little bit worse, and these were the very early reactions to this post that XDefiant put up saying, now when is the patch coming properly for kill trading? Every guy who plays the game from the beginning is just complaining now, and add the game to Steam already, and that's just so people can play it more casually on their Steam decks and just track what the game is going like, whether it's player numbers and reviews and everything like that as well. But unfortunately, that is all locked behind the Ubisoft Connect launcher, and Ubisoft as a whole have not released any numbers of the player base of XDefiant. But we do know it's gone up and it's gone down, and it's had some success and then it's had some flops within there as well. So now on to some of the more pressing matters about Ubisoft. And for me, when I heard this information, it was a bit of a sad listen. There's rumors around Ubisoft as a whole that they're approaching bankruptcy, and that's just not good. And the reason behind covering this information and relating it to XDefiant is, as we all know, Ubisoft are the holders of XDefiant. They're the publishers, they're the ones who make all the big decisions, and the development team, if they do go bankrupt, will be the ones who suffer greatly, and the game and the players who enjoy playing XDefiant will suffer greatly. But where is all of this coming from? Where it's all coming from is down to just a lack of performance from all their top games, whether it be Assassin's Creed, whether it be Skull and Bones, and also, you know, just down to XDefiant and so many other games. And Star Wars Outlaws is another big one as well. So when you take all of that into consideration, the flops that they've had have been considerable. Like the big one that has its biggest issue with XDefiant is down towards Skull and Bones. Like that game was in development for over 10 years. The leaks say that it went through like 4 different styles of games, and also the money that was spent was nearly 800 million, and it just flopped to a peak of 850,000 players worldwide on launch, which was well below what they expected. Also, the game has just dramatically dropped from that. It's not the game that they said it was, the quadruple A game, the first of its kind. And I think it got slated as quadruple A because of the money they spent on it. But that money was pissed away on redeveloping the game over and over again, changing routes, changing the whole game style, and so on and so on. We all know that it started off as a Black Flag kind of style game that we would have found really interesting, and then evolved and developed into what we actually got. Another one is Star Wars Outlaws, that was touted to be a Mandalorian style game, which was pretty much like The Division. You would have come across multiple Mandalorian kind of families, and you would have had a lot of stuff to do in it. And also touting the fact that Star Wars Outlaws, the final product that we got, was aimed to be like Red Dead Redemption money. And it couldn't be further from Red Dead Redemption because of the changes that went through and not really listening to their fan base. They were taught that us as fans who play, Ubisoft games would be like, hey, it's Star Wars, let's play it. It's open world, and they could market this game to us to a point of where we'd be gullible enough to spend money that we do in the likes of Red Dead Redemption, GTA, and all these top quality games. But what they failed to forget was that the games like Red Dead Redemption and GTA is because we spend that money is because we actually really enjoy playing that game, and what you get from them and the track record from Rockstar has been so amazing that like you wouldn't even want to doubt it. And even if the game wasn't up to standard on release, you would really feel comfortable that Rockstar would get their act together and fix the game immediately. So this is kind of where Ubisoft has failed, and why you can kind of believe that these rumors might be just, if not true, or might come to pass over a period of time. But the overall kind of thoughts from me personally is I really enjoy XDefiant. As much as I talk about it, I only highlight the issues is because I want people to know that there's someone out there who's going through the same issues you're going through, and create a community around the game as a whole, that the good, the bad, and the ugly. And if I didn't care about playing this game, I wouldn't cover the game. I wouldn't play the game daily. And I will be honest, the last couple of days, apart from the weekend, I had absolutely a great experience in this game. It still had some of the bugs that I mentioned in the previous game, but it ran completely a lot smoother than the weekend did, and it was amazing. I put 3 or 4 hours in most nights since the weekend, and I really enjoyed it, if not actually more than 3 and 4 hours, maybe 5 or 6 hours, and it was great. It was an amazing time playing, and with some friends on top of that as well. I convinced them to come back and give it a go. But when it comes to XDefiant, where does that fall if all this becomes true about Ubisoft? Unfortunately, it's the freshest game that they have, and it's just going to fall like the rest of them. It's not going to get any support that it's supposed to have. Whether or not another publishing company picks it up or doesn't pick it up is yet to be seen. But realistically, it would fall the way the rest of the games would fall, and that means shutting down or just being pulled off the shelf because they're not making any money, and they have a reputation that was from the old Ubisoft and not the Ubisoft that potentially might be sold or changed over in some way, shape or form. But look, this is all speculation, but you can kind of put 2 and 2 together and come up with 4 instead of coming up with a crazy 6 like some gamers do, and constantly say that anybody who hates on XDefiant should go back to Call of Duty when they don't play Call of Duty. And I found that kind of crazy, because I also want to tip onto the point of that there's no need to be so harsh in the comments to other people about their opinions, and you're entitled to have your opinion. But when you come up with a crazy statement to say that anybody who complains about XDefiant are just COD lovers and they should go back and enjoy SBMMM, it's nothing got to do with that. Most people who complain about the issues they're finding in XDefiant are the players who are actually committing to playing the game and being one of those numbers on the player count to keep the game alive, and all they want is stability in the game and for them to be able to enjoy the experience that they've probably got at certain points of the game, because they probably, like me, know that the game has got a lot of potential and they want that potential to be maximized. They want it fulfilled so they can really enjoy their time and focus their time and efforts in playing this game, and maybe get their friends back on and play this game. And that's really how the gaming industry currently is now. You can't say a bad word about a game that somebody really likes that hasn't had a bad experience in it, because you're basically talking shit and you're a hater, instead of actually gamers being like, hey man, You know, I'm not having any of those bad experiences, but if you are, it's actually a shitty thing, and you should raise that to the dev team, and we all should come together and go, hey, we need to support these players who aren't having a good time. So my games, when I'm playing them, they can be more competitive and I can get better, because I don't feel like I'm getting cheap wins or cheap kills due to bugs or issues with the in-game experience. That's how gaming used to be. Right now, it's not like that, and it's unfortunate. And this is the culture we live in when it comes to these type of studios and these type of publishers that constantly push out marketing ploys to focus us in on a game that is just not really that good. I'm not talking about XDefiant, but Skull and Bones, Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League, a lot of games are out like that. But guys, look, that is all for me, and I will catch you on the next one.